like, let's talk about Keanu, because
Yes.
I feel like, everyone loves Keanu.
Oh my God, he's so good.
One of the reasons we decided to review this movie is because we were on a big John Wick kick, and we love Keanu Reeves, and we were like, hey, cool, like maybe we'll do Devil's Advocate. And this is how we had this conversation originally. But
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's one of his better roles, to be honest. And I do feel like, we were doing our research on this, and he turned Speed 2 down to
Yes.
do this movie. And now, so Keanu, like, there's always like the four comings of Keanu, right? So there's like Bill
Mhm.
and Ted, and then Speed, and then The Matrix, and then John Wick. And he always kind of goes away, and everyone thinks that he's gone, and he'll never resurrect his career. And then he comes back with one of the most, like, really culturally significant movie. So they were trying to get him to do Speed 2. This is why his career sort of like fizzled after this, because he did turn it down, and the studio was mad at him because they wanted to build a Speed franchise. But he did this movie. He took a pay cut as well, in order to get Al Pacino on board, which is very,
Mhm.
very cool.
Very
And I
Keanu of
don't,
him.
yes, of course. And I think it's got, I mean, I think it's got some of the best acting, like that. Certain scenes for sure. Listen, it's Keanu Reeves. We love Keanu Reeves. We know his capabilities. But
Mhm.
I think there's a couple scenes in this movie that I think he really does draw some heavy emotion from. And I think they kind
Yeah.
of, they really do work for the film.
Especially
I
scenes
do.
with Charlize Theron, because like she's incredible in this role, and they have such a wonderful chemistry between the two of them, because I think they went on to do Sweet November however many years later, because they have such a
Right,
wonderful
right, right.
chemistry. Like, you believe that they care about each other, you believe them as a couple. And yeah, so again, like Charlize Theron, another spectacular actor slash actress in this film that like really kind of makes the movie what it is.
Yeah, she's like, to me, I think she's the highlight of the film.
Definitely.
I mean, past Pacino. I mean, you watch this film because Al Pacino's the devil, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush. But the supporting cast is really, really strong,
Yeah.
and Charlize Theron is I think the highlight of the film. Past that, I think she turns in a really committed performance. She was, at the time, just starting out in her career. I think this was sort of her fifth main type of role. She was in That Thing You Do. She was in
Mhm.
2 Days in the Valley. Very supporting, very small supporting roles. But this supporting role really does have some meat to it,
Yeah.
um, and I really do feel like she pulls off. She has the biggest range of emotion, and the biggest
Yes.
arc, and the biggest change in this film. And it's
Absolutely.
interesting to me because I really felt um, like watching this with just more of an objective eye when I was looking at the acting in the film, when I was watching it for this, was that she really does play like the fish out of water really well. Where she's very confident and like strong and sexy, like when she's in the South. And then when she goes to the city, she's kind of like, she's a little unsure of herself because she feels a little bit outmatched by all these high profile, rich
Yeah.
and their wives or partners or whatever. And then obviously she goes through this kind of like this psychological break because they all are trying to like mess with her in order to keep Kevin Lomax in New York. And I think she plays that really, really well. Like, I think she plays it straight too. I don't think she
Definitely.
doesn't try and she doesn't overact in this film. I think it was one of the reasons why she got picked up for so many films after this movie, is her performance. And it's pretty, it's pretty unflinching, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, props to,
Yeah.
props to her. Right.
How's the
So,
Charlize? I think one of the really important things of this film too is that with Al Pacino, like, there's no half measures. And I really appreciate that in this film, no one tries to meet him at that level. Everyone like recognizes, like, okay, Al Pacino is going to play it up here. So in order to make this work, we have to play it down here. Because if everyone's up here, it's going to be pure chaos and this movie's not going to work. So we can have up here, but only if we can still have like the solid baseline of everybody just like holding down the fort at the realm of reality, while Pacino can just like do his thing, which is hysterically great. It's like every single time that he's in a scene, Al Pacino, I'm just like, so curious, particularly the first time I saw it, so curious is like, what is his line delivery going to be with this? Like, I feel like if I had the script in
Yeah,
front of me and I was
totally.
reading along, I'd be like, I don't know where we're going next. Like, I don't know how this line is going to come out because I feel like every single line is just like not the way you expect it to be delivered. I love the trailer because it pulls out the most strange lines, like how like God is a absent landlord or something like that.
An
It's like
absentee landlord.
absentee landlord is like, of all the things, like why that line? Like it's so
uh,
bizarre. But I do,
I think that line's misplaced in the trailer, but it works in the movie.
yeah. Which is why
I
it's so funny in the trailer. It's like, why is this line here?
but I do like this. I do like his like you said, some of the stuff is so well played. When I love the line when he goes, "I have so many names," like
Yeah.
and I also like it's it makes me laugh when he said how how do you put them away. He's talking to Keanu and he says how do you put these criminals away one day and then let them out on the street the next. So a little bit of a plot spoiler, but
Yeah.
so Kevin Lomax basically is a prosecutor for I think like 5 years in southern Florida, and then he switches and becomes a criminal lawyer, and that's why Pacino's line, which is like pays better, doesn't it? I just like
Hmm.
this, which is a really funny inclusion of "done it," but like
Done it
yeah, I don't know. I think like there's some great there's some great monologues in here from Pacino.
for
I think
sure.
that's the bread and butter of this film. That's why you want to watch it.
Definitely.
There's and also when I was watching it, so it was funny too because there's especially the scene when he's walking through the street with Keanu for the first time. So they're walking down the street and he's gonna cut the little hat on, and it just reminded me as like I feel like this is the actual sequel to like Godfather 2. I feel like this is a real Godfather 3 because it's like yeah, good. Well, it's just like it's a better movie than Godfather 3. Challenge me in the comments below. Let me know what you think. But I would say like I got these vibes in the original version of the script. He I guess he takes the subway a bunch. There's a line in this movie where he says, you know, learn the
Yeah.
subways, they'll get you around or whatever. And the original script, I guess, was like the subways were going to go down, and you know, obviously that the infamous New York subways are they go there's you can get lost in them and there's all kinds of weird stories about them and stuff like that. So the idea was that the subway system would kind of be like the seven rings of hell.
Mm.
And that's why he was actually living in New York